We will call to order the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors business meeting Tuesday, June 15th, 2021, 7 p.m. in the board meeting room, 39 Bank Street Southeast, Chatham, Virginia, 24531. Roll call, please.
Dr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Ingram.
Here.
Mr. Dudley.
Present.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Scarce.
Here.
Mr. Warren.
Here.
And we have Mr. Farmer on the phone. Mr. Farmer, could you state the address you're calling in from?
328 West Sandpiper Terrace, Nags Head, North Carolina.
Thank you.
I would ask that you would observe a moment of silence with us, please. Thank you. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there items to be added to the agenda? And I'll look first to Mr. Hunt because I know we had some additions from finance.
Yes. We have the following items to be added to the consent agenda as a block vote. The volunteer agency audits for Keeling and Callens, the FY 2022 budget contingency appropriations for a jail van and bulletproof vest, authorization to advertise for a public hearing in July, the potential meals tax increase from 4% to 6%, and the creation of a transit occupancy tax at 4%, the authorization for Parks and Rec to hire a full-time position, and recommendation that comp board affected employees receive an explanation letter that was attached to Finance Committee agenda. And finally, to approve the Fire and Rescue Commission's recommendations and appropriations as presented relating to fire equipment.
Thank you. Are there any other additions to the agenda?
Mr. Davis.
I would like to make a motion to add the following items to the consent agenda. DPCS appointment, Chatham Blair's Mr. Brent Shelton, and then Finance Committee recommendations.
Thank you.
Which we just did. Thank you.
Yes.
Any further discussion on the motion? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve that amended agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, let's take the vote on the agenda items to be added. I
Right.
just have a mover and a seconder.
Okay. Please vote on changing the consent agenda, changing the agenda, adding the additions.
Ed. There you go.
Motion carries unanimously.
Mr.
Mr. Farmer, are you okay with the amendment? The additions?
Yes,
to-
Kalen, is my vote.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, can I get a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
Dr. Miller moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please cast your votes.
Mr. Farmer.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We're down to consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Davis makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Ingram. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes.
Mr. Farmer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Need one more vote, right?
No, we're good.
You could, I didn't even see you put it up there. All right. We're down to presentations, Rufus Ranger Residential Solid Waste Permit, potential approval. Mr. Adcock.
Yes, sir. If you recall, at the May business meeting, you approved changes to the Pittsylvania County Code to allow for residential waste collection and haulers and to create an application and permitting process. After that code change, we received one application from Refuse Rangers LLC, and that application was submitted in your package. The only concern with that application is we have written that the vehicles shall be collected in vehicles which are suitable and dedicated for use and performance of such collection. The permittee or the applicant has a unique method that they want to present to collect, and I would ask them to come and present that to you. I think they're here.
Hi, good evening. My name is Travis Fitzgerald. I'm from right here in Pittsylvania County, Chatham, Virginia, born and raised. Quick introduction, a little bit about myself, if that's appropriate. I joined the Virginia Army National Guard in 2000, just retired recently from that. Served in 3 different tours, Operation Noble Eagle, Operation Endure Freedom, as well as Operation Iraqi Freedom. I've been an entrepreneur now for 12 years. I was also employed by the Virginia Department of Corrections for 4.5 years. Myself and Mr. Miller here, we've been running a company together known as American Logistics and Freight for the past 12 years. I've also started other businesses, DSD Fleet Services, which services fleet rental vehicles. We deliver fleet rental vehicles all over the country, all over the United States of America. With that being said, as a resident of Pittsylvania County, where I live on Beverly Heights Road. That's where I lived my entire life, right below Green Rock Correctional Center. And I've always kind of wondered, why don't we have residential trash pickup available for us where we live and other residents? So with all of that, and the work that we have been doing, moving the trucks, I got inspired. I said, hey, why not try to bring that service to the rural residents of Pittsylvania County? So I started doing some research, and I'm not sure if you all have seen the email that I sent with handouts and maps and stuff. Okay, so I came across a company that was doing what I wanted to do. Okay, so the way that they were getting it done was they used pickup trucks and dump trailers to go to residential areas, load the household garbage into those trailers, which is then covered by a tarp and taken to a landfill and then dumped at the landfill. I understand that there were some concerns about leakage, possible refuse coming flying off and debris and things ending up in the road. I can assure you that the practices that I look to implement, that will not happen. We run a professional business, several organizations, and I, as you, share the same concerns. I love Pittsylvania County. It's a beautiful place. When I graduated from high school, went off and traveled, I could have lived anywhere in this world, anywhere. I had lots of opportunities ahead of me, but I chose to come back here to Chatham, my hometown, where I'm also the assistant varsity coach at Chatham High School, by the way. So I returned back to my community in which I love. I have five children that are in Chatham schools and in the Pittsylvania County school system. Because this is where I wanted to raise my family, and this is where I wanted to come back and also give back to my community. I really want to take this opportunity to start this business and then also be able to create new jobs and employ people, as well as recently, this was not in my plan, and I wasn't even aware of it, just timing, I guess, is everything. I've recently seen some things on social media and also in the local news where we've been receiving some complaints about our dump sites. What do you call them? Like your satellite sites, I can't think of the collection points that you have throughout the county. Some of them have been, I think the one in particular is located in the, not Blair, Mount Herman district, I think is where it's at. So there's been, and I think what we'll do is it'll help and assist with the overusage of some of these collection points. I think one of the citizens was complaining that, come home from work, 5 o'clock in the evening, I sit down and eat my dinner and enjoy family time. And then once family time is done, I try to rush out to get the garbage out. By the time I get to the collection site, it's closed. Well, if you approve today and give us the opportunity, based on, the way that we're presenting it to you, we would be able to help with that, because that gentleman wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. He could just roll his garbage out to the end of the driveway, and then myself or staff will come by, pick that garbage up for him. It'll reduce traffic at your sites, and it'll help the citizens and give them additional alternatives that they could seek out outside of what's currently being provided or, doesn't exist. It's a win-win as far as I can see it. I guess that's all I have as far as what I came to present. So I guess at this point, take questions.
So I think what we're looking for is either a motion for approval of the permit application or either to table it for additional information request.
I'd absolutely make the motion.
Make a motion.
Yeah, that we give these gentlemen a permit, the opportunity to do what they're striving to do.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
I'll give a second to that. I do want to make some comments when
Okay.
it comes to
Got a motion and a second, so we're open for discussion, and Mr. Scarce.
I think you're doing something great, but the only concern I do have, we have to make sure whatever trailer vehicle use is covered. We get enough garbage on the side of the road, so I can understand some trepidation on approving this, but I would say as long as that's requirement is met, it should be fine. But I just wonder, how did you come up with the $35 a month cost? Is that cost effective for you, or?
It's cost effective for me, as well as it's the standard from, as I searched out and see, and different businesses that were doing the same thing in the areas in North Carolina and as far north as New York. That was about the price point.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Go ahead,
sir.
Chris,
Mr.
I'm
Dudley.
sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to make one clarification, if we could, for that motion that the applicant obtains the required insurance. I guess his vehicles are still in the process of obtaining the vehicles. So we want to make sure once those vehicles are obtained, that he gets the proper insurance as stated in the permit.
Mr. Ingram, will you be willing to amend your motion to include the insurance component?
Say it again.
Would you be willing to amend your motion to include the insurance component?
Oh, absolutely. And I guess the common sense part, or the caveat, is that you'd adhere to all local, state regulatory requirements, et cetera. Sure.
And you amend your second?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
So be it.
All right, Mr. Dudley.
Yes, sir. I had one question, and before I go any further, thank you for your service. Thank you. What a blessing, just to have a young man in front of us that's served our country and protected our backs while we sleep. I appreciate it. And so many people are not doing that, and I'm still thankful for that old flag that we salute every day. And I appreciate everything you do. Let's give him a hand. How about that? The question I would have is, if you're going to be doing the collecting of the trash, as people put it out, will you be providing like the rollaway type trash cans to be put out on the road? You tell me.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to offer the option. You can either rent
Yep.
a can from me or buy your own can.
Yes, sir.
And of course, it would be a standard set of what type of can to
Yes, sir.
use. Want to kind of keep it as uniform and
Yep.
good as possible. I want it to look good as well.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. And not just thanking you, thank you too, sir. You hadn't said a lot, but it's okay. Thank you too. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Any other comments or questions from board members? I have one. Just want to emphasize, because I assume you're going to hire some employees and all that, that they are trained and understand that they take this waste to the landfill. They don't take it to the collection sites, okay? Because we got cameras up. We're going to see you if you take it to the collection site.
I understand. Yes, sir.
And Mr. Scruggs will be writing tickets. That's his forte.
Won't be an issue, I promise.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Please cast your votes.
Mr. Farmer, can I get your vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Please record the vote. Motion carries unanimously with one abstention, and that's because Dr. Miller's son is involved in the process. Is that not right, Dr. Miller?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For the record, Dr. Miller abstained due to a family member being involved. Okay, we're down to hearing of the citizens. Each person addressing the board under hearing of the citizens shall be a resident or landowner of the county, or the registered agent of such resident or landowner. Each person shall step up, give his or her name and district in an audible tone of voice for the record, and unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. No person shall be permitted to address the board more than once during hearing of the citizens. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a body and not to any individual. Members thereof, hearing of the citizens shall last for a maximum of 45 minutes. Any individual that signs up to speak during said section who does not get the opportunity to do so because of the aforementioned time limit shall be given speaking priority at the next board meeting. Absent chairman's approval, no person shall be able to speak who is not signed up. Do we have some?
Yes, sir. Our first is Julie Owen.
Hello. I'm here tonight to compare two backyards. The residents around First Piedmont's industrial landfill and the residents around the White Oak Amphitheater. Their issues are being addressed by you all with a much higher level of concern and respect than ours. Sanitation, traffic, noise, and other pollution, and general uncertainty as well as unanswered questions are the concerns coming from both neighborhoods. Our community's concerns have reached a pinnacle where our quality of life is deteriorating. I'm not minimizing their concerns, but they are theoretical at this time, however, and we all know they will soon be a reality. Our concerns are 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Theirs will be sporadic and not an everyday issue. Last fall, we asked you all to postpone your decision on zoning and permitting at the landfill and to do your due diligence and fully consider our community's valid concerns regarding the landfill and its negative effects. We were completely disregarded and missed without any consideration for the seriousness of our issues. Only one person on this board had attempted to understand our side of the matter. According to Article 1 in the Pittsylvania County bylaws, the Pittsylvania County Board function includes providing for the general health, safety, and welfare of the public. That means all citizens, not just certain select neighborhoods, or is it really not about the people at all, but instead about tax revenue? Aren't you all appeasing these folks just so that they feel that you're concerned about their issues? The comments in the June 9th issue of the Star Tribune should give every person here a snapshot of what you really think of us. Why wouldn't you want to know from us directly, the people that live near there, what is actually going on? The misinformation and the education you all mentioned in the article, it's you all that are spreading the misinformation and lack of education on this topic. I could go on and pick out more instances from this article alone, but I won't. Your behavior says it all. All you care about is money. According to the organizational chart on your website, the people are your boss. There are a lot of unhappy people across this whole county that are dissatisfied with the direction of the county and its current administration. To close, why is their backyard more important than ours? Fact is, you have all failed the residents of Pittsylvania County's Dan River District. If you'd done your homework, you would have found out that the landfill is not in 100% compliance. We would be happy to share this information with you at another meeting. We are not stopping this fight. We have a right to know that our community is safe. We will be back. It is your duty to serve all citizens of this county.
Thank you. Next.
Deborah Dix.
Deborah Dix Blairs. I'm addressing this issue, which I sent y'all a letter and nobody answered me or made comments about future mining in Pittsylvania County, again, by another Canadian company. They would be drilling around the Danville Basin, which stretches from Route 29 in Campbell County all the way down to North Carolina, around Route 863, or renamed Route 344, which is where Berry Hill Road is. So again, we have hard rock mining maybe coming to our area again. The problems with hard rock mining is the same as uranium mining. Telling ponds leak. They leak acid from breaking down the hard rock, and they have been burst in Colorado. And our gold mine in South Carolina, a gold mine in North Carolina. So we still have the same problems with hard rock mining, and I hope that this will be considered and stopped. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dix.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We're down to public hearing, rezoning public hearing, and case number 1, pursuant, let me reread this first. Pursuant to Article 5, Division 6 of the Pittsylvania County zoning ordinance, the Board of Supervisors have been empowered to hear and decide specific zoning issues and zoning map changes in support of said ordinance. In accomplishing this important task, the board is responsible for promoting the health, safety, and general public welfare of the citizens of Pittsylvania County. The board must ensure that all of its decisions and regulations be directed to these goals and that each be consistent with the environment, the comprehensive plan, and in the best interest of Pittsylvania County, its citizens, and its prosperity. We will open public hearing case number R-21-013 at 7:24, and Ms. Ragsdale.
Case R-21-013, George and Kathy Jones have petitioned to rezone 0.083 acres located on State Road 649, Anderson Mill Road in the Callens-Gretna Election District from B1 Business District Limited to R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to combine with an adjacent parcel of land zoned R1. The Planning Commission recommended by an 8-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. Once the property is rezoned to R1, all uses listed under section 35-222 are permitted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, George Jones is here to represent the petition.
Okay. Mr. Jones? Do you have anything you'd like to add, sir? Thank you. Anyone sign up?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing at 7:25 and entertain the board's pleasure.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Farmer.
for case R-21-013, I make a motion to approve the request as presented in our packet.
Second?
I have a motion by Mr. Farmer and a seconded by Mr. Dudley. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, please cast your votes. Motion carries unanimously, and your property, Mr. Jones, has been rezoned. Thank you. We're down to public hearing case number R-21-014, and we'll open that public hearing at 7:26. Ms. Ragsdale.
Case R-21-014, Robert Vaughn has petitioned to rezone 34.40 acres located on State Road 631 Dews Road in the Stanton River Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow for agricultural uses. The Planning Commission recommended by an 8-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under section 35-178 are permitted. Staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Robert Vaughn is here to represent the petition.
Okay. Mr. Vaughn, do you have anything you'd like to add, sir? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Do we have anyone sign up?
No, sir.
Okay. We will close the public hearing at 7:27 and entertain the board's pleasure.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. In this motion, in case R-21-014, I make a motion approving the rezoning of 34.40 acres from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow for agricultural use. The rezoning would be consistent with the county's comprehensive plan.
Second?
Got a motion by Mr. Dudley, seconded by Mr. Davis. Is there further discussion on the motion? Okay, please cast your votes.
Mr. Farmer, can I get your vote?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Vaughn, your property's been rezoned, sir. We're down to case number 3, public hearing case R-21-015, and I'll open that public hearing at 7:28. Ms. Ragsdale.
Case R-21-015, Ronnie Warren has petitioned to rezone 6.45 acres located on State Road 622 Cascade Road in the Tunstall Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow for a second dwelling. The Planning Commission recommended by an 8-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under section 35-178 are permitted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Ronnie Warren is here to represent the petition.
Okay. Mr. Warren, do you have anything you'd like to add, sir? You don't have anything you want to add at this time? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Warren. Anyone sign up?
No, sir.
We'll close public hearing at 7:29, and I'll entertain the board's pleasure.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion in case number R-21-015, to make the motion to approve the rezoning of 6.45 acres from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow a second dwelling on the property. The rezoning will be consistent with the county's comprehensive plan.
Motion made by Mr. Ingram. Do I have a second?
Second?
Seconded by Mr. Dudley. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please cast your votes.
Mr. Farmer, can I get your vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries you 6-1. Mr. Warren, your property's been rezoned, sir. We're down to other public hearings. Each person addressing the board under public hearings shall step up, give his or her name and district and his or her place of residency for a county, non-county citizen in an audible tone of voice for the record. And unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. Speakers for a group shall be limited to 10 minutes. Speakers shall conclude their remarks at that time, and unless the consent of the board is affirmatively given to extend the speaker's allotted time, absent chairman's approval, no person shall be able to speak who has not signed up. And we're down to public hearing number 1, which is potential music festival ordinance revision adoption. Ms. Ragsdale.
Pittsylvania County Code, Chapter 10, Music Festivals, regulates music and entertainment festivals that are conducted in open spaces and continue for longer than 6 consecutive hours. This ordinance was originally adopted in the 1970s. It was amended in the early 1990s, and with large planned future music festivals in the county staff have proposed the attached revisions to ensure that the ordinance remains relevant and that the interests of the public health, safety, and welfare of county residents continue to be protected. The proposed revisions were included in your packet. We've also went over them earlier at work sessions. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions from board members?
No, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Ragsdale, I do have one question. We are, I know we've had some preliminary discussions ourselves, but I want to make sure the board understands, we are still going to have to address that 6-hour time frame because we don't have any restrictions at all if someone wants to do something and only do it for 6 hours. I mean, it's very limited.
Correct.
So
Anything under 6 hours would not trigger the need for a music festival permit currently. So any property that was zoned correctly for that type of use would be allowed to have an event with music outside in the open space that lasted up to 6 hours, and they would not have to submit any of these plans or receive approval from the board to do so.
So just wanted to make you all aware of it. Staff is already on top of putting that stuff together so we can get that corrected in the near future, right?
Correct. We're in the process of looking at how we can better regulate that.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ragsdale. Do we have anyone sign up?
We do. Can you open the public hearing?
I'm sorry?
Can you open the public hearing?
I'll open the public hearing at 7:33.
And the first we have is Jean Owen.
Good evening, Mr. Owen.
Without any objection to the board at this time, it'd be okay if I just pray for y'all to God to give y'all the wisdom.
Absolutely.
Father God, we thank you for bringing us together this afternoon in Jesus' name. It's a lot of hard decisions, maybe more than they've ever done, is about to be happening where the board is concerned. And I know, from knowing many of the board members personally, they want to do what's best for Pittsylvania County and the Commonwealth of Virginia. Give them the courage, Lord God, more than John the Baptist had, King David did, Lord God, and greater wisdom than Solomon ever had, to do your will in Pittsylvania County above the money, the situation, the taxes, Lord God, give them that wisdom to vote as if each one of them is going to have to answer to you for how they voted for the Pittsylvania County people and the situations that lay at hand. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Kathy Nixon?
Hi, Kathy Nixon. I'm in the Chatham Blair's district. And first I wanted to thank you guys for continued discussion around this music festival. I know we've had lots of participation in community conversation, so I thank you for that. And I appreciate many of the agency representatives coming out to join our conversation a week or so ago and participating. Two of the remaining concerns that I had that I wanted to mention tonight, one, Bob stole my thunder. So just to echo, that is to say, the 6-hour stipulation, I would like to see that replaced with the expected number in attendance or ticket number sold. The board and many of the agencies have already acknowledged the importance of the infrastructure to keep us, the neighbors, and the participants safe. So my ask was to please make that change prior to tonight's vote, not to necessarily delay the vote, make sure we've got something in place. So that's the ask there. And then number two, I saw the call to meeting notice come out for next Tuesday at 4 o'clock to discuss the special permits. I noticed that it feels like it leaves very little time for all of the thorough review promised by each of the coordinating agencies. So you've asked us to trust you with this process, and my ask is just to please continue to take this seriously all the way to the end and show us that our concerns matter. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Nixon. Next.
Deborah Dix?
Hello, I have a concern to Deborah Dix Blair's Lester Lane. I'm right among the mess that y'all may create for us in that neighborhood. The ordinance is fine, but not strict enough. My main concerns is security. Your security information you have is very weak. Actually, it doesn't say anything. I have a security from another town in Virginia. Dundee has these festivals, but not 25,000 people. One security information is at least one off-duty county sheriff's department deputy or policeman for 500 attendees. So I think that would be about 250 people for 250 sheriffs for 25,000 people, and rumored that it might be 40,000 people. So that would be how many sheriffs? Do you have enough people in our county and even in the city of Danville to cover 250 or greater sheriffs in the area for 4 days? And of course, they say that the applicant should bear the cost thereof. Another problem I'm seeing is that they are talking 25,000 people under 120 acres. The 300 acres they mentioned, I have no idea what they're talking about because I've called everybody that owns land around there, and only 120 acres is mentioned. The amphitheater in Hollywood Bowl has 17,500 seats. That's capacity. I see nothing about capacity in any of your ordinance. The Fiddler's Convention is 18,000 people. The Red Rocks Park in Denver, 800 acres, 9,500 people. It's a place in Florida that has 800 acres. They say 25,000 people. So how do you get 25,000 people, 20,000 cars on 150 acres? How is that going to address my area that I live in? I'll be right among them. And also, I did read that they're going to use ATVs and shuttles But you remember, they cannot go on state highways. So if they do on a shoulder, they end up in the creek. So I hope that you consider putting stricter security at least, and also consider how do you get 25,000 people off 120 acres in case one of those tornadoes come through my area again, or in case another hailstorm comes. And I know you said that doesn't really matter. But anyway, please consider these options. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Dix.
Joey Bray.
I'm Joey Bray, Chatham Blairs District, 60-year resident of Pittsylvania County, 25 of which, the last 25, on R&L Smith Drive. And I want to first of all commend the board for taking on the task of looking at the ordinances, because that's critically important, vitally important to all of the residents who live within that area. And you would expect me, living on R&L Smith Drive, to be opposed to this. But I would like to say that if I didn't live on it, I'd be opposed to it for the folks who do. I really would. I drive down, and the traffic alone is enough to me to not pass it when it comes up for a vote. I live on the 41 end of R&L Smith, so I am familiar with Interstate 41, I'm familiar with Interstate 29, and I am familiar with the off-ramp, which is R&L Smith Drive. And I just ask you to please, please, look at the ordinances, put all the teeth into it you can, and I understand it may pass anyway if they check all the boxes. But please help us in that regard. I close with this. There's a clause that is found in many contracts, leasing agreements, and it says this: both parties agree that upon performing the covenants herein contained, party of the second part shall peacefully and quietly have, hold, and enjoy the premises. Those of us on R&L Smith, Lester Lane, Carson Jones, Crane Drive, Mountain View, we sure would like to enjoy quietly and peacefully our premises. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bray.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
I close the public hearing at 7:43. Entertain the board's pleasure.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the revisions of Pittsylvania County Chapter 10 music festivals as attached and presented.
Motion made by Mr. Ingram. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Scares. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Scares.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to give some quick comments. I think we've done a tremendous amount of work on this code, and I think everything we could have thought of and all the input we had from the citizens we put into this thing. So keep in mind, this is just to approve the code tonight, not so much to approve permits that are in the future. So tonight, I hope you'll appreciate what we've tried to do with this code. I think, again, I appreciate all the work the staff has put in, and again, I really appreciate all the input we received from the citizens. We took every comment into account to make sure this code was, for us, the most stringent code that we could to make sure that your safety and health were protected. So I hope you'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank everybody that did come out about this, and just appreciate everybody that spoke in a civil way. This is your way to voice your opinion, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Before we vote, we discussed in Exhibit A that discussed the fees at the work session. Respectfully, it makes sense to perhaps Mr. Ingram to amend his agenda to include these fees in his motion, please.
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion that we amend the, yes, sir.
That's going to include Exhibit
Yes, sir.
A.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion's been amended and seconded.
Just make sure that does give us a ticket count. The fees that we're attaching to this, it does give the number of tickets that are being sold. It's escalated amount, so the higher the ticket count, the more the fees will be.
I want to follow up on Mr. Scarce's comments, and to our colleagues, we've already communicated with you. Most of you already know this, but we've attended several meetings of the community. There were community meetings, and the folks were very open and expressed their concerns, and we took due notice of those concerns. And tonight, we're only voting on this ordinance, and I don't want anybody to leave not understanding that we're just voting on an ordinance that we needed in place because you were really vulnerable with the old situation, and we know we still got to do some work on the 6 hours and less, and we will make that a priority to get that straight also. There was some questions during one of the comments from one of our citizens about the safety and the law enforcement. We've had our folks diligently communicate with outside sources that have had these events in the past and to what their concerns were and what they personally experienced during those events. Our sheriff has come up with a number in relationship to how many of his deputies per attendees will be present that he feels like he's very comfortable with, will be able to handle any situation. The Virginia State Police will be totally in control of the traffic and on call should anything occur inside the venue. If it happens, the venue also has to have their own safety there. All of these expenses for public safety, EMS services, the sheriff's office, all of that, those are not going to be burdens to the taxpayers. They have to be paid by the event organizers, so we've taken care of that stuff. So I just wanted to let you all know we're trying to do the best job we possibly can to address the concerns of the citizens who have been wonderful about expressing that and very, very open-minded to listen and try to assist us. You know, we want to make the right decision from one end of this board to the other, and we're trying to do that. We understand that, you know, I think the state police put it in the best way anybody could. It's going to be an inconvenience, and he even stated that the worst will probably be the first event because whatever it is, it's always going to be growing pains and that type thing. So bear with us. We're trying to do the best we can, and anything that occurs every time will have to have a special use permit, and we will try to be sure that each one of the entities that govern those will cross the T's and dot the I's, and you know, we will do our due diligence to review those to make sure everybody is signed off on them properly, and our citizens are protected in every way possible. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, please cast your votes only on the ordinance part.
Mr. Farmer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance carries unanimously. Unfinished business, do we have any, Mr. Hunt?
No, sir.
Thank you. We're down to new business, 12A, solid waste bulldozer bid award. Mr. Adcock.
Yes, sir. Last month, proposals were received for the purchase of a rebuilt or used bulldozer for county landfill operations. 6 proposals were received, and they were ranked by staff. The top 3 proposals were submitted to the Finance Committee. At the Finance Committee earlier today, the Finance Committee recommended to accept the proposal number 2 from Marcel Equipment Limited for a Caterpillar DAT waste handler dozer in the amount of $685,000.
Thank you.
I guess we need a motion to approve that.
Okay, what's board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve that expenditure.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Scarce, seconded by Mr. Davis. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, please cast your votes.
Mr. Farmer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously. We're down to solid waste landfill cell C construction bid award. It's your night, Mr. Adcock.
Yes, sir. Bids were received on June the 3rd for construction of our Cell C in the landfill. We received 6 bids that ranged from 1.4 million up to just over 2 million. Our landfill consultant, Labella, reviewed all bids for accuracy and completeness. The lowest bid price for the construction was submitted by Sargent Corporation. They found no errors or omissions in the Sargent's bid, and they reviewed Sargent's contractor qualification statement, and they have successfully completed numerous landfill cell construction projects with subtitle D liner systems, which will be similar to our project. From discussions with 2 of their references, Sargent completed the respective projects within budget and on schedule. Their recommendation to the board is to accept the bid from Sargent for the construction of Cell C in the amount of $1,424,600.
Board's pleasure.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to award the landfill contract to the lowest responsive bidder, confirmed and recommended by Labella.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Dudley, seconded by Dr. Miller. Any discussion on the motion? Please cast your votes.
Mr. Farmer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously. Resolution number 2021-06-04, Virginia Tobacco Commission loan. I guess you're going to take this, Mr. Smotherman?
Yes, I'll do my best. We are in the process of securing a loan from the Tobacco Commission of $4.5 million to relocate and construct, relocate a electric line going across the mega site at Berry Hill Mega Park. Staff is in the process of working with the Tobacco Commission, VRA, and Bond Council to bring this issuance to a close by the end of the month. And this evening, we are asking the board to approve Resolution 2021-06-04 to enable our financing action to occur with haste next week. There are no county funds, and the City of Danville is partner in this project.
What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the board approve Resolution 2021-6-04 as presented, which will enable the financial closing to occur on June 22nd, 2020, in an effort to continue positioning the site for prospective companies.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Scarce, seconded by Mr. Davis. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, please cast your votes.
Mr. Farmer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. We took care of appointments during consent agenda. Does anybody else have anything on appointments? Okay. Matters from the work session, Mr. Hunt, we took care of all of them?
We've taken care of that, yes.
Thank you. Board members' reports. I will start with Mr. Farmer since you are basking in the sun in Nags Head.
I don't have any this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer. Enjoy your vacation. Mr. Ingram.
Yes, sir. Just a couple, please. Sadly, we presented a resolution at last month's meeting to Darrell Shelton for his 30 years of volunteering for the library. Well, he recently passed away. Also, I wanted to thank our fire and rescue community for all that they do. What they do for us, we could never repay. And so, you know, while we have done a lot to prop them up, these young men and women are absolutely priceless, and without them, I don't know where we would be. And finally, my Tunstall Trojan baseball team has won 22 district championships, and they play tomorrow night in Abingdon, and wish them well. But they played a good game last night, won 5-1, beating Lord Botetourt. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Mr. Dudley.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Just want to thank everybody that had an input on taking care of this meeting. I know it's a lot of work that goes unseen, especially with, you know, these new ordinances we have to upgrade. And just want to thank everybody, including Emily, the whole staff, everybody that had anything to do with it. Appreciate them. Also, just glad everything went well tonight. Had a long day, and I am ready to go home. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dudley. Dr. Miller.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to do the communication that I sent you regarding the lady in your district. Of course, I don't want to get ahead of you, but were you going to move on that maybe at a later time, or should I say something tonight?
Did you hear that, Dan? Mr. Farmer.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear Dr. Miller's question?
No, can you please repeat that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Farmer,
Dr. Miller, it's okay. Let me repeat it because he's right here. Got him.
oh, okay.
Okay. Dr. Miller asked if you were going to address the issue at a later date he had sent you concerning one of your citizens, or did you want him to say something about it this evening?
Yeah, I didn't think it would be appropriate for me not being there in person this month. So it's something we can work towards handling next month if that's acceptable.
Okay, so you want him to go ahead and mention it, or you want to hold it till next week?
Mr. Warren, please repeat that.
Do you want him to say something about it, or you want to hold it to the next meeting?
Yeah, I'd like to hold. I'm not there in person. I'd like to make it more personable to be there in person,
We'll
please.
address it next month, Dr. Miller. He's fine with that, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Dr. Miller?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Davis.
I do want to echo the sentiments of Mr. Dudley, who said he wanted to thank the staff. I do thank the staff because they are the wind beneath our wings. We wouldn't have been
That's
here.
right.
We wouldn't have been able to do, we're not being able to do anything moving this county forward without the staff. Real simple. It's got an outstanding team together, and we also got an outstanding law enforcement, and I'm thankful for our cream of the crop educational system in Pittsylvania County. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Scares.
I have nothing this month. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Scares. I have a few things. I want to say hello to Miss Bowman, Brenda Bowman. I followed in her footsteps from the Chatham Blair's district. It's nice to see you back in Virginia for a change. So, thank you. Thank you. Also, I'm really happy to see that we're able to come out and the county's opening up some, and we're opening up restaurants and everything else. We're making that turn on the COVID a little bit, so it's a pleasure to get to actually look out there and see everybody and not see everybody masked up and everything. And I do agree with you, Mr. Ingram. We could never, ever repay our fire and rescue volunteers and folks for everything they do for the county and all. And I hope we will continue to only make that easier and better for them as we go forward. That would certainly be, should be our purpose and our goal, and to get the absolute best service we can for our citizens from a fire and rescue standpoint. I also want to take the opportunity to congratulate all of our graduating seniors, and hope they are able to find good jobs right now here. And the ones that are going off to college, we're doing our best to give you the opportunities to come back, because we don't want to lose that resource. You are the most valuable part of anything going on, so please come back to our area, and we'll continue to do our best to bring you opportunities here so that you can afford to come back here and still have a great quality of life. That's all I have, and Mr. Smitherman.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple things real quick. We are in the hiring business right now, and we have added several new employees to our staff, and you've met a few today and over the last few months. We're also hiring in many areas of county government, but the job market is very tight, and we are soon to employ new tactics, trying to recruit the best and brightest available. In fact, we're working with our PR manager and our HR manager to develop a hiring campaign where we're advertising for good people. We're not even going to assign positions. We just need good people. And if we can find good people with good work ethic that want to be part of an energetic organization and learn and grow and work hard, we will find places for them in our ranks. So we are, like the rest of America, strained with hiring right now, but we're working hard to fill our ranks with good people going forward. I also want to commend to you the hard work of not only your staff, but all the ancillary service providers that will be providing security and safety for citizens that will attend the upcoming festival events if approved by this board next week. We have received tremendous support from many agencies, and everyone knows what they're doing, and that has been so refreshing that so many of us and so many of the people we're working with have done this before, and they know what to look out for. And for those of us like me that may not have done this before, we found resources in places that do have experience, and we're using those resources to learn from them. So we're very positive about our preparedness and about the event promoters' preparedness to date. There are still many things outstanding that we wish to see from them before next Tuesday, but we feel fairly confident that they're all those things are going to come in. But what we do have the most confidence in is our partners such as VDOT, VDH, State Police, our Sheriff's Department, and the many others that are working hard on this project. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hunt, do you have anything?
No, sir.
I omitted two things, so I'm going to exercise the privilege to back up. I certainly want to comment and compliment the entire staff, but I in particularly don't usually do this, but I want to single out Ms. Ragsdale for all of her work that she's put in, and she's been to those citizen community meetings on every occasion, so appreciate that effort and appreciate all the hard work you've done to make this ordinance the best it can be. I know we'll we'll probably learn something from having an event, might have to fine tune some things later, but really appreciate the job you've done. And again, I would like to thank my colleagues for the good work they're doing collectively all over the county, but in particular today, we've been here since 11:30. We had joint meetings with the school system at 11:30, and it has been a long day, but it's been a great productive day, and feel like we got quite a bit accomplished today that will continue to move our county forward in a positive manner. So that being said, and that completes the agenda for the business meeting. I'll declare the meeting adjourned.